I was turning it off. It no longer plays the theme from the Wonder Woman movie. Now it just sounds like the phone we used to have when we had a party line in Fairfield. Remember that? Yeah. Party lines. Woo! It's hard to tell our kids today what it was like. Of course, I see enough gray hair in there. You probably were around here when we had to crank the phone, right? Weren't you around when we had to crank the phone?
I lived in the country. We did crank the phone.
Well,
when that was your phone number being called, it was like a long, short, 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 long, or long, short, long.
dash, dash, dot.
But I mean, literally, everybody's phone would ring in your house as well. So if you really wanted to listen to what somebody else is talking, you could very easily do that.
Did you do it?
No. I could care less.
Oh, y'all really nice people. You're really nice people, I can tell.
Now, if they had a teenager or whatever, I might have been thinking that's who it was. But I also lived at a time where you could call the operator and call Grandma. And she would call Grandma for you.
Ah. Well,
We had our own local telephone house in my own town.
wow.
So the operator knew Grandma.
Rural America is amazing, isn't it? I think about all the years that, they had lots of electricity in town and people were not using electricity out here, out in the small towns in the same way, and definitely not in the country. And then the organization of the rural electric cooperatives that come into being, and then, in recent years we've got that concert water districts. I think there's a great deal of innovation and creativity and commitment and community, because community work is what makes all of that work. Community coming together and working together is what makes all that work. I feel like that story doesn't get told enough or broader across America, I don't think.
We always did have electricity. We always had toilets. I mean, you guys had indoor plumbing, so.
Remember when you got indoor toilets?
Yeah.
Okay. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. But that's okay. That's okay. I like to hear those stories. I was a townie. I grew up in Fairfield and then later in Des Moines, so there seemed to always be an abundance of whatever you wanted or needed in both places. Tonight, I am a church member, and we are talking about the church membership as a gift. So, I did the cheater thing like you used to do when you were in junior high school, and you didn't know what you wanted to say, so you went to the dictionary and you looked up your word. So I did that tonight. I thought I might be enlightened, but no. Gift means pretty much what I thought it is meant for the whole of my 69 years. But it doesn't hurt to review just a little bit. Here, as a noun gift, there are two meanings that I want to look at just quickly, just briefly. Gift, a notable capacity, talent, or endowment. Can you think of anything that we have talked about at all, scripturally speaking, that might refer to? I mean, because actually that's really a good definition of, but isn't that the spiritual gifts that we have to which we have referred? Something that comes, and spiritual gifts, when we talk about spiritual gifts, we're not talking about something that necessarily that's your possession, but something that is gifted from outside yourself. But it also may hit the parts of you that are gifted, genetically, or might even be something that you have worked to do, and like the gift of knowledge, the gift of understanding. Are those not aided by study and by curious inquisition, or as I like to call it, Googling? So all of those spiritual gifts, not just from outside, but also sort of pounding as they come into us on the gifts we have inside as well. Okay, that's number one. Number two is gift. Something that is voluntarily transferred by one person to another person without compensation. Okay? In other words, in Lutheran terms, from our catechism, these gifts: forgiveness, salvation, and eternal life. Right? Good. Or, in other words, it's in the book tonight. My machine keeps going off. Okay, Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 through 9. It was in the book. For you are saved by grace through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is God's gift, not from works, so that no one can boast. So that is gift as noun, and those two meanings are pertinent to our discussion thus far in the book that we've been reading. It's also a verb. You can use gift as a verb. It means to endow with some power, quality, or attribute. She's been gifted with a beautiful voice. That would be one. Or to make a gift of. I'm not as on board with this. I have a little difficulty in grammar, in usage over time, where we turn words that are nouns or that are adjectives, we turn them into something else. Okay? Like impactful. Impactful, right? Drives me nuts. Do you guys use it? Don't do it in front of me. I think it's good, sometimes when you reduce something down, it's not as good to reduce it down. Impactful, that's a terrible thing. And so this, to make a gift of, it would be like, it makes an excellent choice whether you're gifting one bottle for the honeymoon or a case to be savored for years or even decades to come. Evidently, that must be about some kind of thing that people like to drink. I don't know. That's just an example. Gifting. And I think if you drink, then you're probably using your nouns as verbs and your verbs as nouns. Because see how naturally that would happen. Okay. But I want to ask us a question tonight, a set of questions. In this particular time, I'm not going to talk at you for this whole time. I want to start with these questions. And these questions are, aside from the definitions that we just used, I want you to say tonight, what is, at least as far as you can name it or select it out, make it solitary, what's the best gift? And I'm not talking right at this moment. If you say salvation, I'll say, okay, good, but we already covered that. Okay, what is the best gift you have received? Yes, ma'am. Time.
Where people have discipled me. They cared enough to take the time to do that.
Okay.
As Jesus did with his disciples.
Super. super. Time, really neat.
I would say community. I live in community.
Okay? Big gift. Yes. Yes. Oh, him!
Even when I want to choke, he's still my gift, and I know it.
Too much information. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, children, the gift of children that grow and are so wonderful.
Wonderful. Yes, indeed. In fact, I love them when they grow. Yes, next. Come on. You know, no, you're not getting out of this alive. Let's hear it. If you don't feel like doing this, the harder questions are coming up. Just letting you know. The more self-disclosive ones in a group, right?
I would have said children, but I think nature.
Nature.
That you can get out and walk and the fresh air, and it can be a really, really bad day, but if you go outside and just walk around.
Oh, yeah.
It just clears your head completely.
Mm-hmm. Whether it's the sun or the wind, as long as it wasn't like it was, what is that, Sunday? Oh my goodness. Birds.
Just everything that you see and hear.
Gotcha.
Love.
Love. Love. We're going to sing it on Sunday. There's going to be a song. Love, love, da 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 da. Okay, you're going to love it. You love singing. Anybody else want to weigh in here? Best gift? Yes. Do-overs. Second chances, third chances. Okay. On all the numerous chances that we get, because slow learner. All right, anybody else want to weigh in? Yep, I'm telling you, they're going to get more down and whatever. Okay. What was is there, this is still a positive one. What's the most useful gift you've ever gotten? Not the best gift, but the most useful one.
Vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum cleaner.
As an anniversary gift.
Oh, boy, there's some romance.
It was a Kirby though, so.
You've saved some poor soul who has to go door to door with those things. Somebody saved him. Yeah. Anybody else? Most useful gift? Opportunity. Okay. Knowledge. Creativity. Yeah. Okay.
I would say the acceptance from your parents, that love, that unconditional love that you get from.
Okay.
That regardless of what you did, they were still backing you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But boy, there's no end to that, is there? Gratitude for that sort of thing. You guys are awfully high-minded people. High-minded people. High-minded. Did you get a gift you did not want? A gift that you did not want. What? Yes. The lawnmower. You should see her over there. She might have a use for it. Okay. Yes, sir.
A book written for a kid my age when I was reading 4 years beyond my age.
Oh, gotcha. Insulting, huh?
I was very insulted. And my uncle was so pleased he had gotten me a good gift.
You know, for me it was they were always getting me dolls. Oh. My brother got all this good stuff, trains and... Yeah. When I got my first bicycle, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. Okay, more? You didn't want, something you didn't want. Gift you didn't want. Wait, no, that wasn't my question. Wait, I'm mad at myself. Yeah, it is. Gift you did not want. Anybody else? Okay, this is the final one. The gift you thought you would never use, and yet in retrospect are thankful to have received. Gift you thought you would never use, and yet in retrospect are thankful to have received.
Well, I have this, anyone who's been to my house, I have this bright green frog with 2 holders for salt and pepper that I thought I would never use, and I'm not still sure I'm grateful to have received it, but we do use it. It sits on my table proud.
Who gave it to you?
Well, guess what I came home with the other day? I find on my table these 2 frogs that are standing this tall, and they're like, I guess a lady, they're dancing. I said, no. Just no.
Well, you got kind of a theme going on there, don't you?
I don't have a theme. He seems to think I have a theme, but I don't.
Something you got that you didn't think you'd use, you didn't want, and yet in retrospect have been thankful to have received.
Mine's not as funny as yours. The microwave, I was just sure I didn't need one of those.
Oh. So do you ever use your oven nowadays?
Yeah, I use both.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's pretty addictive.
Did you say, Jeff,
We were the
take this
same-
microwave out of our house right now?
We were the same with the computer. We were kind of slow to get a computer too.
Well, I think it's terrible because I've found out that you could make omelets in your microwave. And I make omelets. They're not as good as otherwise, but they're done in a real fast period of time. I ask you all those questions pertinent to gifts. We all have the experience of, we've all been a certain age. We might be somewhat in a hierarchy of ages here, but we've all had the experience of being so excited about Christmas morning and coming in and finding, the surprises, the enormous surprises that might have been available there. And sometimes they're good ones, like the bicycle, and sometimes yet another doll baby.
That's better than underwear.
Well, depends on the situation. Do you think that possibly church membership could be this kind of a gift? That there may have been points in your life at which you really didn't want to use it. It didn't fit. You might have been a teenager and you were too cool for school, baby. Okay? Only the dorks went to church and prayed and did all that stuff. Not that I had that experience of any kind. But, okay, there might have been that. Might have been when you were in Sunday school. You were and Sunday school and vacation Bible school. I really loved those things. I did. And I loved them in Fairfield, and I loved them in Des Moines, and I loved them as an adult, and by golly, that was also always a very useful gift, a part of our useful gift. And then there's parts of it, it's a chore, isn't it? Yeah. People always want something from you. They're always asking you to do something. They're always they're saying, you know what, we got a new edition. We need to pay for it. You may not have the most cheery face in the group, the most received face in the group. Oh, here comes Wayne. He's going to tell us what we got to, how much is left on the mortgage. Okay, so there's that experience. There's also a time when it just, may have been in your lifetime, maybe for a period of time, repugnant or even meaningless. Could have been that. There are times and seasons in our lives, and I'm not saying everybody's had any of these, all these experiences, or even any of them, but there may be those. Church membership as a gift. As a gift. I have mentioned this. I would come home from summer camp between the ages of 11 and 15, and every year my mother had a project to keep me busy until school started. My sister-in-law would pick me up at the airport in Ottumwa and drive me back to Fairfield and fill me in on what the project was for that year. When I was 13, the project was pipe organ lessons. And because I was young and not nearly as experienced, wise, and educated as I am now, I thought all I could think of, or I wasn't even as young, I wasn't even as experienced as I thought I was at that point. All I could think of when my sister-in-law said pipe organ, I could see this little red-haired, late middle-aged woman who played the organ at the old Turner Hotel in the dining room on Sundays after church, where we would go sometimes when my mom didn't feel like cooking a roast or something. And she didn't play my kind of music. I don't even know what my kind of music was. I was pretty young. But she played those 1940s and 1950s pop standards on that organ, and she had the vibrato slide all the way out. So you can imagine, you've heard that kind of music before. When she said pipe organ, I had that picture. I just could not see myself doing that because I was too cool or something. Anyway, I was horrified at the thought, but I never said no to my parents out loud. And so I went ahead and did it. Took the lessons. I had been banging on the piano since I was 8. And I couldn't figure out what more was to be expected of me, by golly, at that point, but pipe organ, oh my goodness. And then in my last summer of camp, at age 15, I came home and I discovered that I would be taking speed reading lessons. Speed reading. I was the best reader in Fairfield Elementary School. What did I need speed reading for? I was not thankful for these things at the time that I had to endure them. I could not see their usefulness. I still don't see the usefulness of speed reading, but the pipe organ turned out to be a blessing. Useful. In the spirit of, you can't possibly know what you're going to need to know just a few years down the line, let alone later in life. Way. Being able to play the organ, knowing the technique for fingering and playing. It came in really handy when there was no organist for evening services at the Slovak Lutheran Church in Philadelphia. We didn't have a pipe organ. We had one of those electrified old pump organs. It came in useful when we managed to get groups of people together to sing for worship. I was thankful to know those things. I was thankful to have been forced to do them. You all had some really lofty gifts. I had ones I didn't want. I had ones I didn't want. Ask me about opera sometime. And I love it now. The book says church membership is a gift. And sometimes it doesn't seem so very much. Because on the one hand, we've been church members all our lives. And we may take it for granted quite a little bit. It's what grandma and great-grandma and grandpa and everybody else, it's what they did. Okay, and that's one side of the equation. And the other side of the equation is sometimes, just like these other gifts we were just talking about, sometimes membership isn't so gifty. Human cussedness, as we've mentioned before, exists within the church. There's plenty of passive aggressiveness, and there's plenty of whininess, and there's plenty of stubbornness, and there's all kinds of nesses all over the place. But our book says, and I think rightfully so, rightfully so, I'm going to pick this apart a little bit. A gift must be treasured. It should not be taken for granted or considered lightly. Because it is a gift, we must always be thankful for it. Now, I have a problem with all the musts and the shoulds in that sentence. You've heard that phrase, I think you're shoulding all over yourself. Yes. That thought is going on in there. There is, however, a great sensibility in the sentiment. Gratitude for the gift, not just for our salvation, our forgiveness, our eternal life, but gratitude for our placement in the community of people who are just like us, just as frail, just as faulty, just as glorious, just as ugly, just as beautiful, and just as saved, is a gift that is beyond comparison. The worst of it is better than a lot of the best of the rest of the world's offerings. I want to close tonight with two things. One is this quote from Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And you gotta, it's for your bookmark for your Bible. He says in his little book, Life Together, he says, we think we dare not be satisfied with the small measure of spiritual knowledge, experience, and love that has been given to us, and that we must constantly be looking forward eagerly for the highest good. If we do not give thanks daily for the Christian fellowship in which we have been placed, even when there is no great experience, no discoverable riches, but much weakness, small faith, and difficulty. If, on the contrary, we only keep complaining to God that everything is so paltry and petty, so far from what we expected, then we hinder God from letting our fellowship grow according to the measure and riches which are there for us all in Jesus Christ. That is the organ lesson statement of the year. Tonight, the greatest gift we know of all is the gift of Jesus. And so tonight, and as we end this section, let's sing that song that you got right there. And I'll show you my skills on the piano, not the organ. I heard my mother say, I heard my mother say, I heard my mother say, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, you may have all the rest, give me Jesus. Dark midnight was my cry, dark midnight was my cry, dark midnight was my cry, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, give You may have all the rest. Give me Jesus. Oh, when I come to die. Oh, when I come to die. Oh, when I come to die. Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You may have all the rest. Give me Jesus. Before I dismiss you, I want to thank you all for participating in this book study. It's a pretty simple little thing, but I hope it has generated for you a sense of renewal and commitment and a little bit of an evangelical fervor for sharing the good news of Jesus Christ out where you go, and maybe even bringing some people back to bringing some people into the building to share worship and praise with you and to hear the joy of being saved by Jesus and by God's great love in the world. Now Sunday, we're going to sing a couple songs, different from what I don't know, but different. And we are also going to, one of those songs is based on the love passage from 1 Corinthians. And it'll be the hymn O Day. So I hope we'll see you there. If you want, what have we done with all of the pledge? What have we done with the pledge papers? Has everybody taken them home? Yeah. Okay. All right. Does anybody want to say anything on Sunday? Because you could have a second or so for a word. Anybody want to share anything? Okay, well, good. Yeah. You will be welcome to do so. I will not put you on the spot, though, like get up during the announcements and say, would anybody like to say a word? Cheryl? Okay. I won't do that. I won't do that. The Lord go with you. Have a good night of discussion out here, and there's awfully good food out there too, I see. So